Hey everyone, welcome back. So today was a nice Monday. What can we say? Bitcoin's up. Miners did a great job today. Excuse me. It was just a nice day to see. We need another 10 to 15 days like today to get back to where I think we should be at, valued on these guys here. But it's a first step in the right direction, I think. Maybe Bitcoin and the miners have bottomed out here in the last week or so, so that might be good news here for us. It just depends what happens next week on Tuesday, which is going to be April 2nd. Is it going to be April? No, April 2nd is going to be on Wednesday, I think. But that's going to be a tell as far as what's going on with the tariffs. Will we dip some more at that point? We'll look into it. The only news stories that we have here today is thank you to GenPel for letting me know that Cleanspark insiders were selling today. We'll take a look at that. We'll also take a look at MicroStrategy buying. We have some other good news for Bitcoin. And that's about it. We'll get into Q&A, so it should be pretty short and sweet today. But the good thing is Bitcoin miners were up today. That's great to hear. So let's get into it here. But first, we got to go through what we always go through. Not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what happened here with Bitcoin and the miners. And like I said, today was a nice day. Bitcoin was definitely going up, except towards the end of the day. It started going back down a little bit here. But we were up on Bitcoin approximately 1.66%. I think at one point we were up like 3% at one point. And we were at 88,000 for the high was 88,804. We pulled back a little bit. We're still above the 200 simple day moving average on Bitcoin on the daily, which is good. We're down a little bit right now on the new day. We're down 0.68, nothing major there, just a little profit taking. We had 2 good days of going up in the green. Little profit taking, not out of the ordinary. Might be even expected. So Bitcoin did really good. The miners, oh my gosh, the miners did a fantastic job today. MicroStrategy also did great today. MicroStrategy also bought more Bitcoin today. We'll get into that here in a second. But they were up 10.43% on the day. Bitfarms was up 8.91% on the day. BitDeer was up nicely today, 16.38%. Cypher was up nice as well, 9.59%. Cleanspark, I think, took the lead today, being up 18.15%. They were included in the S&P Small 600 list, I believe. That might be partially the reason why it did really good today. But I think just in general, the miners are starting to bounce a little bit here. Maybe they bottomed out. CORZ was up 9.4% today. Hive was up 7.83%. HUT was up 8.14%. IREN was up 7.55%. Mara was up nicely as well, 18% on Mara. Riot was up 9.69%. Wolf was up 8.44%. And I'm sorry if you hear my niece crying upstairs. I think she tripped herself or fell on the floor. Maybe my dog even got in her way a little bit. So I apologize for that. Hopefully she's okay. What else do we have here? Argo was up nicely, 10% today. Digital was up 6.87. Digihost was up 3.8, just a little bit here. DMG was up 13%. Mawson was up just a little bit here, and Annie was actually down today as well. The ETFs had a fantastic day, 8%, almost 9.5%. There's almost 8%, and WGMI killed it today with 10% as well. So that was good here. We did have also the difficulty increase today. That went up. What was that increase? I'm not even sure what that increase was. But it went up to 490 from where we were at 480. So a slight increase there in difficulty. What that means for the miners is they're going to be generating a little bit less Bitcoin here. And yeah, so overall, really, really good day. Like I said, we need another 10 to 15 more days like this. If we do that, then we're looking at some of these guys being like above $40, $50 per share if we get this. And it's not out of the question. When we go into a bull run, and we're in a bull run right now, we just have a little reprieve right now. But when we continue the bull run and things go parabolic on things, those guys can make up those 10, 15% days, day after day for like a week, if not sometimes like 2 weeks. But sometimes you have sell-offs as well in there. But they can definitely do that. We'll see if they do that this time around as well, like they did last time. So that would be fantastic. I'm sure you guys would be happy. I would be extremely happy if that happens. But we still have a ways to go, I think, before the end of the year to see that. Looking at the network hash rate here as well, while we're at it, the 7-day average is going up a little bit here. We're back up to 818 exahash. On the 30-day average, we are, there we go. 30-day average is going up a little bit here. We're at 807 exahash. I don't think that's the highest we've been at. We're pretty close to the top there. Yeah, I mean, we're getting back up to that top. So that's why the difficulty has increased a little bit. And let's take a look at Bitcoin for the month of March here, which is right there. It's up 3.46%. We have about a week, well, about 7 more days to go before the end of the month here is out. We might actually end up in the green here in the quarter. We're still down 6.62% on the quarter. We might, if we increase by 6.62%, so we get to like 10% on the month of March, we might actually end up the quarter in the green here. That would be good. I'd love to see that. Okay, Bitcoin ETF flows has been positive here over the last couple days. We've had it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now 7 days of trading on the ETFs, the Bitcoin ETFs. Those have all had daily inflows positive. So that's good. We're still waiting on BlackRock to report for today, see what that came in at. But that's good news there. Like we talked a little bit about, Sailor acquired more Bitcoin. They acquired 6,911 BTC for 584 million. We talked about that a little bit yesterday because they were getting some more cash infused at this time. And I said, possibly it might be that they buy on Monday or sometime later on this week. Well, sure enough, they bought Monday, which is great. So now they hold approximately 506,137 BTC, roughly about 2% of the Bitcoin that's available out there. That's a lot, right? So if you take out even the stuff that's lost, it'd probably be even a higher percentage at that point. But yeah, I mean, they're just continuing to stack wherever Bitcoin price is at. They're just trying to get cash and turn that cash into Bitcoin. Fantastic. Love seeing that. Next here is a little good story as well. This is from Dennis Porter. Big breaking Bitcoin rights is now a law in Kentucky. Great work by the Satoshi Action Fund. This is the 5th bill they've played a key role in putting into law. So this was signed by the governor of Kentucky today. It gives you basically a wallet means a digital interface. So you get basically hardware wallets, self-hosted wallets, third-party wallets, but basically it's all the things that we want, right? You can run a node, and use of digital assets is now protected for millions of Americans without fear of discrimination. Great news there. Another thing, adoption is happening. That's what we want to see. So the only other thing I have to talk about is Cleanspark here. Cleanspark is, let's see, we saw 2 people today. Actually, looks like, 2 report of selling their shares there. Not sure who they are. I have to look at the company, who are the people there. But we have Cavalieri's Amanda selling approximately, was it 13,000 shares for about 102,000 there. Not much. I think, well, I don't know if that's the case, but I think maybe her shares got vested there and she was able to sell because she got shares on 12/31/2023 and on 09/30/2024, 9,000, 4,000 there. It doesn't say anything about doing it to pay for taxes or anything like that. So I'm guessing that they just sold that. Not sure what they got, but basically let's see, still has plenty of shares outstanding there. Other units yet, what is that, 3? Well, that's I think all the shares outstanding there. I'm not sure what she has, but maybe that's all she had. So that's that one. And then we had another one here selling a little bit. We had Wood Thomas Lay sold 44,444. Maybe we'll get Bitcoin to go up that high this year to 444,000. Kind of interesting number there. But he got 357,000 roughly. And those were also granted, vesting RSUs granted to him on 3/31 and 9/30 as well. So those were sold. So I think maybe he's able to do that. Yeah, that's all it is. So nothing major here. I mean, we don't see anybody else really selling. So it's just 2 people. I'm not sure even what relationship to issue director, who was the other person here, director as well. So some type of director. Not sure, but that doesn't really mean much for us. It's not like they sold a boatload there. Okay, so there's that. Really quick, I just wanted to look at with the miners here, the performance. We normally look at this. I wanted to take a look at the performance of the miners here from the beginning of this year mostly, because not much is changing here from going all the way back to the third quarter of, from the beginning of the first quarter of, no, from the beginning of the fourth quarter of 2024. Right, not much has changed as far as price appreciation on these guys here. Price difference from beginning of second half of 2024. Then we got price percentage difference from the beginning of last year. That one's kind of interesting to take a look at. And also price difference from basically where they bottomed out in 2022, beginning of 2023. So that's how all of these guys have stacked up here. But for this current year, I thought it was kind of interesting here, just recently because of today's action on the price and everything else. Cleanspark is like not doing the worst here. It's actually doing some of the best. It's only down 7% roughly. Bitcoin's down 12.6%. Marathon also doing pretty good here, only down 15%. Riot as well, 16%. So some of the more pure play miners have actually done better here than we've seen with some of the ones that are actually going into HPC AI, right? IREN down 26%, Bitfarms down 31%, Cypher down 33%, CORZ down 35%, HUT down 36%, Hive down 42%, and BitTF down 49%. So kind of interesting to see how that's playing out. So will this continue going forward? I don't know. Will this hold up the way it is? Possibly not. But it's just nice to see that some of the pure play miners are getting a little bit less beaten down, I guess you could say, on it. But we'll see how they progress going forward. All right. That is it. I'm still waiting on Bitfarms to report their fiscal year end for 2024, which will have Q4 results in there. And then I'll be able to add them also to the miners' break-even numbers roughly. We'll talk about that when they do that. So maybe, when is the 27th? 27th is in a couple of days. So we'll do that either the day that they report or the following day we'll do that. Reported for all the miners as far as what that comes in at. All right, but that's it. Let's get into Q&A. We'll call it a day. Should be an easy one today. Probably going to be the shortest stream I've done in a very, very long time. We're only at 10 minutes right now. So love these kind of days. As always, if you guys could preface your question with a question mark or Q, definitely appreciate it. And I'm going to scroll back up here just to see if there's anything I missed here. Let's see. Okay, I talked about the Cleanspark thing. Andre, thank you so much. Definitely helps out if you guys hit the like button. All right, talked about that as well. Okay, Heinze has a question here. Are we falling for this dead cat bounce? Wrong answers only. Might be a dead cat bounce, but I don't think so. We could. We could be bouncing right now, and then next week tariffs come into play and things, drop back down. Your thoughts on KULR stock? What is that one? I'm not even sure what that one is. That one doesn't ring a bell to me. All right. Let's see. Bitcoin may fall after 420, but will rocket after Fed lowering rates may. Yeah. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Please let me know how many times Bitcoin has retraced from March to April 22nd, from March to April this year. Oh, I don't know. Okay, let's see. If we make a rapid bull run and people still selling off miners and alts, are you still going to do streams about other stuff like stocks? Yeah, I may do something else, right? If the miners are done for, maybe we'll get into something else. At that point, we'll look at, nuclear energy. We'll look at EVs. We'll look at things that interest me at least. What else is there? AI, HPC. Also, there's another one. Quantum computing, things like that. So there's still a lot we can cover, and I'll do big research into those things as well. We'll talk about them at that point. Okay. Seb, do you think the USMCA will get renegotiated by next month? There was some talk today that, I don't know if Trump said something about the tariffs or something like that, they may be coming down or something like that. I don't know. But we definitely need something to happen there where it's not as brash, not as abrupt, not as painful, I think. Right? Going up 25% in a day is not fun. So there should be some negotiations happening in the background, and hopefully things are working out that way. The market would definitely love to see that. And so would I. All right. C has a question here. The worst thing about miners is not only how horrible they have been, but the opportunity loss. Which 5 stocks do you wish you bought instead of the miners? Oh, I mean, there's definitely some stocks that have done better. Some of the quantum stocks, some of the energy play stocks, like the micro reactors plays, right? Had I gotten into those maybe, but those were all. Just one news story takes them off, right? That's kind of what we saw with HPCI. We also saw that with micro reactors plays, the quantum as well. It's basically a rocket and you need that little spark, and that spark is usually a good news story on something. So it's kind of hard to get into those things without having something like that. Whereas I thought, at least with the miners, I had the data monthly after month of data. We could see how the miners are doing based on how they're doing, how they're growing, and everything else. I thought they would be rewarded. Hasn't played out that way this cycle. They did get rewarded nicely last cycle, but not this time. All right. Hey, Seb, do you think Bitfarms Q4 and year-end results will be good? For Q4, I'm thinking they're going to be close to like break even on the EPS because they can't really take advantage of the FASB rules there being based in Canada. But for the year, I'm not sure what the yearly numbers are going to be at. I just looked at the last quarter, what they might be. So I think Q4 might be good, but I'm not sure about the year-end. Okay, Seb, KULR is a company trying to emulate MicroStrategy by building a HODL-like similar as well. Okay, so I haven't really heard about them. Thoughts on Bitfarms earnings? Yeah, I talked about that. I think they're going to possibly break even on EPS for Q4. Not sure how, I mean, we could possibly look at what was Bitfarms' prior numbers. Let's see here, Bitfarms. Their prior EPS earnings were, let me scroll down here. What did we get? Okay, let's go back here to screen. So this is Q3, they were down 2 cents. Q2, they were up 6 cents. Oh, sorry, this is my minus depreciation. Duh. They were negative, so I'm guessing they're gonna be negative for the full year based on that. They're gonna, yeah, I would say negative. We're looking at negative possibly 2, 7, so that's 9. 17, somewhere around 15, 17 cents per share being negative on the EPS for the full year. That's kind of what I would guess. Okay, let's see. Minor Degen says BTC needs to hold 88,000 and start moving towards 93 for me to get bullish again. That would be a nice, I think, indicator as well. All right. Question: Cleanspark tomorrow went up 18% when Bitcoin hitting 88,000. How high will these miners go when Bitcoin hits? It just all depends, right? How much appetite is there for the miners? Can the shorts also get off their backs? A lot of questions there. We don't know. But I would think at the very minimum, Bitcoin going from here, it would be almost like a double, right? At 84,000, it would be 168,000 or something like that. So it would be close to that, it'd be almost a double. I would think the miners would at least double to like maybe 3x at that point. But it just all depends on the interest. Let's see, we're starting to see a change in trend BTC price from downward to flat. Worse over your opinion. From downwards to flat, I mean, Bitcoin has been in a sideways accumulation phase here for quite a while, ever since, let's see, where is that? I mean, I would say probably ever since we got into the top here, more or less. When was it? Like January, I think, right? End of December, more or less, middle of December to January, we were going sideways up and down. And then we've been going sideways here. I should probably point this out on the screen for you guys. We've been going sideways, kind of accumulation trading. Then we had the dip here, bounce, dip further, right? And then we've been kind of heading back up. I like seeing that we're above the 200 simple day moving average. I also like seeing that the weekly has held up. The 50-day simple moving average, we bounced off of that about 2 weeks ago, and we've been holding up above it. Does that mean we could get a little dip here? Yeah, I mean, it's not often that we get, you know, there were times where we got like 6 weeks, 7 weeks in a row where we were going up, but then you have a little bit of correction, so we might see that happening, or we could continue to go up. But here's why I like it. Before, in August, we dipped down to the 50 simple day moving average, or from the weekly now, and same thing in September, right? So we bounced off of that, came back down, tested again, we bounced off of it. So could we see the same thing happening here, where we go up here, come back down, test it, and then bounce? Maybe, but I'm thinking it's more likely that we're going to go up this way. Especially if the tariffs thing is more or less a moot point now. Maybe if that gets negotiated and that's all good, and then we get the rate cuts happening in May, that would be a good catalyst for Bitcoin to also go up at that point. So I'm thinking, you know, we may still chop a little bit here, but we may end up going up higher here. We'll see. It's anybody's guess right now, but I'm remaining to be bullish. Maybe wrongfully so. Okay. Is Riot gambling with their recent company move? You're talking about getting to, or going more towards HPC-AI with the remaining megawatts that they have there. I don't know, right? It just depends. Is there the appetite, or is there the, not really the appetite, I would say, the need, well, there's always need going to be for HPC. What's the word I'm looking for? Is there going to be the demand for HPC-AI as much as people are saying? Right, so they're not the only ones playing in the space. You got Core, you got Riot, you got Wolf, you got Cypher, you got IREN. Right, there's many different options for maybe large-scale hyperscalers, whatever you want to call them, go into those directions. So it's just a matter of how much is the real demand and how much cash is going to be put into it. So if they can get the HPCI deal with somebody, great, that's going to possibly help them out. But if they don't, well, then they're just kind of, possibly languishing a little bit here with not building out their Bitcoin mining when they possibly could do that. And especially if Bitcoin goes up to 150, 180,000, 200,000, whatever it might be. Ron's got a question here. Can you please expand on how quantum will be a risk to Bitcoin in the next few years, and what would that mean for long-term strategy? I mean, depending who you listen to, a lot of people are saying that quantum may pose a threat to the security portion of it, right? The SHA-256 algorithm. They can, I believe they already have something in place that they can put on the quantum computers to basically prevent them from breaking the algorithm or breaking the encryption there. So I think that's okay. And then the only other thing I can think about is miners. I think miners would have to go probably quantum at that point or something like that. I don't know. But who's going to spend millions of dollars on, I would say maybe that's above my expertise as far as when it comes to quantum, but I think it's going to be still a long ways out before it really is a threat to it there. All right. Yolo has a question. Are you still expecting BTC reaching 180,000 this cycle as more likely than not? Yes, I still think so. I think that might be like the bear case of where we go with Bitcoin this cycle. All right. Do you feel like the miner and BTC speculators have sold and are gone or still holding? I think a lot of people capitulated here, actually. I've seen it in a lot of my posts on, well, in the comments of the videos. People are selling. I've seen it on X as well. I think a lot of the people have, unfortunately, sold out, possibly at the bottom. All right. BitTF usually go up higher compared to other miners. What is the reason? I think the reason is the upcoming, I mean, they're getting closer and closer to like having the latest generation miners, right? The A2s and A3s. The growth perspectives are also improving here for them for the second half of the year. I think maybe that's why. That's the only thing I can really think of. All right. Was there a lot of miner shorting in previous cycles? Well, the previous cycle that we had, there was some shorting, but I don't think it was anywhere near what we're seeing here right now. So I know there was some shorting, but I can't remember the percentages of it. I wasn't even tracking that at that point, but I know there was some shorting, but I just don't know the percentage. All right. Any thoughts on the CoreWeave IPO? Yeah, it's coming out, I think, Friday. They're looking at what, 20-some-odd billion, 30-some-odd billion dollars for that. I would hold off. I got burned twice on IPOs. I bought the Rivian IPO and I bought the Coinbase IPO. When you're buying into it in the beginning, you're basically exiting liquidity for some of these guys. So unless this might be a different one. There's been a few that have done actually really well after the IPO. Will CoreWeave be the same? I don't know. All right. Let's see. Your thoughts on that Bitcoin miners become like energy? Well, in a sense, they are like, well, they're a consumer of energy, right? But they can also balance the grid. They can shut down relatively quickly. So I think they are a, what's the word I'm looking for? They are akin to energy storage or something like that, if you want to look at it that way, where they do have the capability to power off quickly and leave the energy to something else to be used. All right. Bitcoin has had several percentage moves similar to today. What do you think? What do you think so special about today that made the miners go up so much more? Well, that's what we see sometimes. Sometimes the miners will actually front run Bitcoin. Sometimes we see the miners actually to the downside and to the upside, right? So I think that's just something that happened. I think the miners were just beaten down to a pulp here recently. Maybe we have bottomed out here. All right, let's see. Will you cover CoreWeave? If you guys want me to cover CoreWeave, I can, but I don't know what we're going to be covering there, except for what customers are getting, what they're doing with their sites. It's not like we're going to be getting updates for HPC revenue every month from them, or at least I don't expect that. Okay, let's see. With Cleanspark and Mara being the heavy shorted, both close to 30%, was this a short squeeze today? They outperform most other miners. No, somebody actually posted that shorts actually increased today. So it's like somebody's like doubling down on it for some reason. Fairfax says, I see 130,000 top. Can it be kind of low? But you never know, right? It'd still be better than where we are right now. Too much Wall Street, yeah, definitely seeing that. There you go. Down Under Blue says, quantum computing will hack other banking accounts and financial accounts before they ever get close to breaking the Bitcoin code. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that might be even more of a scare there than going after Bitcoin. Okay, I talked about that a little bit. Let's see. Miners usually take one step up like today and 2 steps back as usual. Not always. The miners do sometimes do really well and they rally really good for a period of time. We saw that many times in the last, I would say, what's it been, 2 years, 3 years? All right, let's see. You don't find it odd that 2 Cleanspark directors sold the first day we start bouncing? Were those planned though? Might have been planned when they got on the S&P 600. I'd be more concerned if it was again Zach selling or Matthew selling today. I'd be a little bit more concerned about that than 2 directors. They didn't sell that much. I mean, total they sold what, $450,000 worth? Not too worried about that. All right, okay, we'll call it a day. Cut up with all your guys' questions here. It's gonna be nice and easy. We're on 25 minutes, so today's gonna be a record for the shortest stream, I think, which is kind of nice. Sometimes it's just nice to talk about what we got to talk about, answer the questions, then I can actually go and relax and maybe watch a movie or something like that. So we'll see what happens tomorrow with the miners, Bitcoin, everything else, see if there's any news stories happening also, and whatever else pops up at that point, okay? As always, appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you so much. Love you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow.